Welcome back. This is now episode 2 of the Movement Marshals podcast. I'm here with Kick.
What's up?
I am Thick, and today we're going to get a little bit deeper into the nitty gritty of kind of what's going on. Starting off with some of our training. Kick and I have been training together probably like once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah, once a week with one of our close buddies. Kind of all with the same goal, just trying to increase our 1RM strength, essentially, for myself and for our other buddy to get ready for a powerlifting meet. And for Kick, not necessarily getting ready for a meet or anything like that, but just wanting to increase overall strength in the big three, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of been where we're at. We actually just finished up a session. Fried.
Yeah, I'm totally fried.
I'm toast. My triceps are toast. My chest is completely toast, but feeling good. I feel like we're moving in a really good direction. So, I kind of want to hear your take on like what we've been doing. We started out in our sessions. We're mostly hitting our bench press on that Monday session. So we started out hitting some more tonnage, right? So high sets of doubles or lots of sets of doubles. So we were doing maybe 5, 6 sets of 2 at about 80% intensity, and now we're finally down to some pretty heavy singles, and then lots of hypertrophy work to get those out. But kind of give me a sense of how you feel with your bench press and where you're at in training.
Yeah, bench press. Training in general, I've been going to the gym more because I don't have a membership anywhere for combat sports.
Yeah.
So I've just been spending more time in the gym, and the bench press is good. I was a little taken aback at first because of how weak I am compared to before the marathon, when I kind of got my PR in bench. So I was like a little frustrated at first, but then just working on it with you and kind of just getting comfortable with that, and then not just trying to kill myself to break that, and rather just refining my form, using what you know to help me has been a huge help in getting really comfortable under that weight that is probably, like you said, around maybe 80% intensity of what my 1 rep max would be. And refining the technique, feeling comfortable on it, getting the confidence to lift it more, and also the accessory work I like with you, because my accessory work's pretty repetitive in the gym. I do different things, but all in the same sort of bodybuilding font, I guess.
Yeah, like
They're same
hypertrophy.
sentences, different fonts.
Yeah.
When I'm doing accessory stuff, and I'm just hitting a lot more arms. I'm trying to hit more legs. I just want to get more sets in doing those things, even if that's not what I'm working on that day. Like yesterday, I did deadlifts, but I also hit some walking lunges and I did some adductors because I didn't hit all the legs that I wanted to when I went with my girlfriend last week. We had a bit of a shortened session. So I'm just trying to get more reps in because my legs are lagging and my arms are lagging, and those are the things that I really want to catch up. And also I want those things to be larger.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I'm probably in the same place.
Your arms are huge right now, though.
My arms are feeling big right now. I'm feeling meaty. But that was probably the biggest place that I was lacking in terms of my physique. I also hate hitting arms, so naturally I program it for myself less. The only time that I really hit arms is like if I have a coach program it for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a lazy bastard.
That's what I meant to say, is that that's what I'm doing when I do accessory work, but when with you, it's more of the athletic positional stuff. We still do like some normal hypertrophy stuff, but we
Yeah.
also hit like those pullovers we did today. That's not something that's it's not normal, quote unquote. And also hitting the high intensity med ball series beforehand, just getting that like actual power development and getting more reps in with that has been really nice, and I like how I feel. And I'm doing hit sessions at least once a week, usually twice a week now, because I don't have that combat sports training. So it's nice to just kind of focus in on my training a little more refine it a little more so that when I do go back, probably next month, after I move out, I'm more prepared and I can more easily synthesize that into what I'm already doing.
Yeah. For accessory work, I think that it's really easy to drop the ball in terms of programming because normally people will do their strength work early on in a session. The way that I see a session go normally, for instance, if I just go to like a commercial gym, I'm kind of, eyes are always out. People do like, some arm circles and they move their shoulders around a little bit and they stretch and like, whatever makes you feel good. I'm a huge proponent for anything that makes you feel better before you go into a lifting session. For me, I like to get hot and sweaty. It just makes me feel really good going in. I feel like I'm ramped up. And by the time,
hot and sweaty.
yeah, dude, by the time I get to the bench press and I lift that barbell up, I want to feel like I can almost take my max like right away. And so something that I've incorporated into pretty much all my sessions, whether they're upper body or lower body, is some kind of athletic movement where I'm moving at high rates of speed, right? I'm moving with some velocity, some intensity. And so we've incorporated a med ball series. It's multi-directional. I move through all 3 planes of motion. So not only are we getting hot and sweaty, we're moving fast, but we're also like actually accessing some positions that we're not going to access for the rest of the session, right?
Yeah.
So stop fucking laughing, dude.
Dude, come on. Fucking banging my med balls.
Yeah, dude, slamming some hard med balls, dude. No, it works really well, and then you get into your session. Like, I felt great on my bench today. I went for probably like a 97%. I think that was 3 pounds off my max. I hit like a 245. It moved. It was fine. But the rep took me about 5 seconds to finish.
You gritted through that rep.
I hit a portion, maybe 50% of the way through that rep where I just, like, static pause.
Yeah, there was a pause.
Yeah.
And then just slow going the rest of the way up.
Yeah. And then I dropped it back down to 225 and fucking crushed it for a single. But it's like, felt really good going into that. And then we hit a little bit of hypertrophy work on some machines, something where we can be externally stabilized. But then after that, like, everything is positional. It's like, now I'm wanting to hit I want to be strong. I want to improve my max. I want to be big. I want to, like, actually grow muscle tissue. But at the same time, I want to stay healthy and I want my shoulders and my elbows to feel good. That's like a problem that a lot of people have is they stop benching because they end up with shoulder pain. It's like, okay, well, if you're always benching with your shoulder blades in this position, right, you have a little bit of an arch, you're always in extension at the spine. It's like, well, you need to get out of that sometimes. And so one of the accessories that we worked into today, we actually elevated our feet on a box. We did some flat dumbbell presses and we cued like, all right, can you keep your whole bench on, or your whole back on that bench, keep a stacked pelvis, stacked rib cage, and then really press. And at the press, we don't just finish at the top. I'm actually having you reach through the ceiling almost to let your shoulder blades kind of wrap around that rib cage. You get a lot of pec there. Like, I was
extra range of motion at the end.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, your pecs are responsible for helping you get those shoulder blades to wrap around. So getting that little bit of extra range of motion, not only are we getting a lot of chest there, like we're stimulating the muscle itself, but we're also working on our position of our thorax, and we're getting that shoulder blade to glide, which is going to be paramount for shoulder health. And then we did the same thing working arms. Like, we are cueing a nice reach of the elbow, doing some skull crushers, going with like a pinky heavy hold, get lots of supination in our bicep curl. And these are all things that are going to help keep us healthy as we go at the shoulder and then also at the elbow, so we're not getting that tendonitis in either spots. But trying to be really deliberate with our accessory movements so that we can continue to push the needle forward. because a lot of times people don't have access to positions and they're trying to get stronger and grow muscle tissue. But if you can't get your shoulder in a good position to bench press, you're trying to grow a muscle and get stronger, but you're not actually doing that. Like, there's a prerequisite of range of motion that you need to have available to you to even stimulate the muscle tissue that you're going for. And like, you'll see this with people who say, like, in a bench press, they only feel the shoulders. It's like, well, you don't have the range of motion to actually even hit your chest. So you go nail bench press, like, you're not actually hitting what you want to hit. That's a problem that I see all the time.
And if anyone is confused by his description of the positions, he'll be posting these on Twitter and posting videos of this workout, so it makes a little more sense.
Yeah, I'll get videos up as soon as possible so that you can go and reference. They look kind of weird. People sometimes see the movements that I do, and they're like, what the fuck is this dude doing, bro? But they feel great, and I've seen a lot of progress moving this way. And they're the same positions that I put my clients in. It's like the same positions that get people out of pain in the first place. Why can't we use those same positions to assist in creating a bigger bench press or creating a better environment to grow muscle tissue?
Yeah, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not just about accessing that range of motion. The reason you weight train with it is so you become more robust in that range of motion, so you can actually handle heavier loads and then perform more challenging movements like a traditional barbell bench press more efficiently while actually working on the things you're supposed to be working on with that movement. Is that right?
Yeah, no, exactly right. So bringing it back to like the foot elevated flat dumbbell press, right?
Flat, you mean pushing that lower back?
Well, I mean just like
or just without
flat
incline.
bench.
Yeah,
with no incline, just a flat bench, right? So the big thing with a flat bench dumbbell press, if you go to a gym, you imagine somebody doing a flat bench dumbbell press. They get their feet down. What happens? They don't have a lot of hip extension. And so where do they get extension from? They get it from their spine, right? Their low back. You often see, like, you could probably fit your whole arm underneath someone's low back if they're doing a dumbbell press. If I elevate your feet, now I'm giving you don't need as much hip extension to get into that position. You can keep a nice stacked rib cage over pelvis. If we have good rib cage over pelvis position, we can create lots of core tension. From here, from that stacked position, now I'm setting you up for success in the sense that your shoulder blades are going to glide right around your back. Whereas if you were in extension at your hips, now your ribs are flared. Now we can't even get your shoulder blades to rotate around because they're in a position where they're stuck back behind you, right? So they're not going to glide around that rib cage as easily as they would if I had your feet elevated. And if you are always doing all of your presses like that, of course you're going to get shoulder pain, right? Unless you're doing some kind of row where you actually allow yourself to reach forward. Mm-hmm. So, it's like these little nuances of just kind of giving us back the ability to move where we're going to lose it in pressing the way that like a power lifter is going to press, mm-hmm. right? And it's the same thing at the lower body. Like a low bar squat, I'm not getting a lot of knee over toe. It's a really hingy type of movement, and I'm not going to get all of the knee translation that I want, all of the rotation on my tibia. And so what do? We put us in positions to be successful. Like we do lots of pendulum squats, get lots of deep knee flexion, lots of rotation at the tib, just setting us up so that we can produce force using our quads in ways that we're not going to in like a low bar squat. So that's what I've been really focused on. And it's fun I have a day in my training where I go to the gym and it's like fuck around and find out day where I literally just play around with different positions, trying to see, okay, what do I actually need from a positional standpoint to be able to produce force more efficiently? And same thing, like taking you and our other buddy into consideration. Like, all right, what do they need to produce force efficiently, and then kind of making decisions based off of that.
Yeah. And when's your powerlifting?
We've talked about this a little bit. I think we want to compete in the summer. So
Okay.
for reference,
Long training block.
long training block. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, our buddy, he is phenomenal at fucking bench press. It's absurd. I mean, I don't know if it was last session or 2 sessions ago. Oh, last session, last Monday, he was like, "Oh, I'm feeling like shit, like not really
Yeah.
feeling good."
He'll say that every time.
Put up 265 on his bench press.
145?
Like,
Body weight?
like probably like 148. Like this dude's
Yeah.
just a freak. I mean, his triceps are like double the size of mine. It's insane.
Yeah.
He's just incredibly strong. He's practiced bench press for a long time. He's like one of those kids where it's always bench day. And so I'm getting him to become a little bit more proficient with squatting. He just doesn't really feel confident with the barbell on his back yet. So that's like gonna take some time to develop. He has the strength, like he can produce force, but the squat is such a technical lift. He just needs more frequency with it. So over that duration of time, we can get lots of frequency in. It'll be nice and warm. It'll be good. We'll have plenty of time to get more sessions in together and get ready for that meet. I'm excited.
Should I compete at that meet?
Honestly, like why not? Like,
yeah, why
just
not?
for shits and gigs. I think that people think of a powerlifting meet as this huge thing where you need lots of preparation. I want to prepare him for it because like
he's like seriously
he like wants to do this, right? So
I think I need to do more competition where I'm just doing it to do it.
Like my first meet, I did a prep with a coach, and it was great. And I had been lifting for a while beforehand, but honestly, the environment at a powerlifting meet is so friendly. Like people are always there for you. I had people come up to me that I had never met before, and they like knew my name, and they were like, "Yo, like good job, man! Like congratulations!" I went in, I won my weight class. Like I was talking to random people, and it's just good vibes, man. Like everyone's just there to have a good time. Like nobody's there to one up you. Especially like at my level, I'm like at an intermediate to advanced level powerlifter. Like this is not, I'm not winning money powerlifting. I just do it for fun. It's a little different when you're, I don't know, closer to like a 500 dot score, and there's money on the line. Like it's a competitive environment, but even still, like I know people who are at that level, and the camaraderie within the sport is really great. Yeah, I would say just fucking do it.
All right, I'll do it.
There we go.
Coach.
There we go. We're gonna have some posts about that, I guess, coming up.
Yeah, we will.
That'll be fun.
That will be fun. All right, yeah, and I mean, for those of you that didn't listen last time, right now I'm trying to cut down to like single-digit body fat. I've already leaned out a little bit. I'm not as fluffy as I was 2 weeks ago, and that's just because I'm doing a more seasonal eating. The only carbs I'm really eating are potatoes. So
dude,
potatoes and berries.
Fucking gas.
Yeah,
bro.
I'll have like a potato every morning, but just a lot of meat, a lot of veggies, some berries, and coconut oil in my coffee. That's primo. Get that metabolism up. There's a dude we follow. I don't remember what his name is, but his main thing is about how high his metabolic rate is because he eats a lot of coconut oil and his resting like body temperature is like above 99 because his metabolism's just moving.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so
I've
that's what I'm working on right now, and that shouldn't take too long. Where I was gonna plan to do some heavy, I was gonna plan to get so much stronger and do heavy lifting anyway after I get to single digit. So I might as well just compete after that while I'm doing that.
Well, I think what you're doing is honestly the right way to do it. It's a question that I get a lot as a coach. I get this question from family members, from new clients, from everyone. And they're like, well, the primary goal, especially like this is a great time to talk about it. It's the new year, right? Everyone's getting into fitness, like new people in the gym. And everyone's goal is like, hey, I want to be stronger and I want to look better. Yeah. And simultaneously, I want to lose weight.
Recomp. I want to recomp.
I want to recomp, right? Like that goal sounds fine in theory. And then you try to put it into practice and you're losing out somewhere, right? Like you're just going to get mediocre results in terms of strength and hypertrophy.
Yeah.
And then also in your recomp, like if you're eating less calories to look better, to be closer to single digit body fat, that's awesome. But you're also not going to see gains in strength simultaneously. Or if you are, they're going to be minimal. Like there are very few people who can manage their levels of fatigue properly to gain strength as they are in a calorie deficit. It's just so hard.
Yeah.
I always recommend lose the weight first because your health is going to be better. If your health is better, you're going to be able to recover faster as you start to reintroduce more calories. You'll grow at a quicker rate. You'll get stronger at a quicker rate. You'll feel better, and you're already going to look better. And then once you start reintroducing calories, understand that when you do that, especially if you're trying to gain weight, there's going to be a period where you look a little fluffy. And like that is just, par for the course in terms of getting stronger and building muscle until you do another recomp and you try to cut down on your body fat again. And it gets better and better every time you do it. But, understanding that is one of the consequences, not to say that it's a negative or a positive consequence. It just is.
Yeah. And you'll see outliers like Noah Ryan.
Yeah.
He eats a way that's unintuitive for the average American, I'll say. But you have to realize that he is someone, and like Grimhood, because he was like so thin. These are people that are so metabolically locked in that they can recomping, like kind of losing it, looking good and getting stronger and bigger at the same time. It becomes an outlier because they are so metabolically efficient.
Yeah.
That it's like easy for them to just stack on muscle without getting that much fat, and they're always doing something, and their circadian health is locked in. Like unless you want to do all of that and really just like change your life around and move to an island and Grimhood's not on, but either way, if you have the opportunity to completely change your circadian health and metabolic health, go for it.
Yeah.
You could probably eat a bunch of, like Noah Ryan says he only eats fruit till noon. That's great that works for him.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it does because he probably feels awesome because they're good. It's good fruit, but whatever. But you need to realize that if you are someone who's starting from square one or even square five, do the bro science stuff that works. That has worked for bodybuilders, that has worked for powerlifters for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
There's a reason it works, and it does appeal to the lowest common denominator, but it also works for the people who are at the highest level. Because you're going to need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight, you're going to need to be in a caloric surplus to gain it. And you are going to have to sacrifice something, whether that be your looks or your strength, while doing one or the other. You have to see it like seasons of life. Just like you should not try and become the best at everything at once. Your body can't do everything at once. It's going to be in a catabolic or an anabolic state generally.
Yeah. Now there's this that's a really good point. There is a Canadian powerlifter. I think he holds the international bench press record. He's like 185. He consistently sits single digit body weight. And is a very unconventional way of doing it. But his full-time job is he is an influencer and a coach. He makes his money from training.
Mm-hmm.
That is his life. Like he eats and lives and breathes training. Like that's it.
Yeah.
He is an outlier. Like he is the 1% of the 1%. And I have seen him over the years consistently build muscle and stay super lean at the same time and get stronger. Like it's insane. That's not me. And if you're listening, it's probably not you either.
Probably not.
And I understand that that's not me, and it's just a lot easier to go through the seasons and kind of ebb and flow in terms of weight and strength. And just understanding that that's going to happen. Try not to get frustrated with the changes.
And the other thing is, people like that have been training for so long, or they've just gone schizo mode at studying this stuff.
Schizo mode? good.
and doing so much so quickly that they've become very in tune with their body and they've experimented with a lot of different things that work.
Yeah.
And they've usually started with the normal stuff, or usually inoptimal normal stuff, because most people start from a place of unknowing. But they have gone through, they've probably tried most of the things that other people have tried, and they've tried a bunch of things that don't work, and they found what works for them. And then they find something that's unconventional, usually after a long time of trial and error.
Yeah.
You need to become comfortable with your body, and you need to, like, know your body, because most people don't. They're not in tune with their bodies at all.
Dude, consistency over intensity every time. I've been lifting. How old am I? I'm 25. I've been lifting since I was 16, pretty consistently. Started lifting right before school, right before college, as I was getting recruited to play sports in school. And then in college, I had a period where I ran track and field and cross country briefly. But then I had a year period where I didn't lift consistently. I had stopped running cross country and track, and I was in and out of the gym maybe like 3 to 4 days a week. But then COVID, so maybe 2020,
It's a
2019.
beautiful picture of you.
Oh my God, stop.
Well, there's one of me too.
It's one of,
We got fat pictures.
oof, yeah. And then actually, basically, I locked in right after that trip. COVID hit and we were locked in. I used my dad's equipment in our garage, from like, I don't know, 1972, and probably older, probably 1850, really. Yeah, man. Locked in, lost a lot of weight, started building muscle, and I've been lifting consistently since. So that's probably 6 years just consistent. So since I was a teenager, and even we've got a client that's been like at our facility now for 3.5 years. She has changed nothing about her lifestyle, except that she trains 3 days a week. She lost 42 pounds, dude.
That's insane.
Yeah, like she's insane. I had to tell her the other day. I was like, her consistency, like it motivates me. It impresses me. She's always in. She never misses, and it's the only thing she's changed. She went to the doctor for like her annual checkup. All of her health metrics improved. Like cholesterol's back in a normal range. Everything's back in a normal, healthy range. It's just consistency. Like you don't need to try something new every 6 weeks. Just do the same fucking thing 2 to 4 days a week for 5 years on end. It's really boring, but that's how you get results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Become an expert in the boring stuff. That's what I had trouble with jiu-jitsu.
It's not sexy.
No.
But to that point, something that we've been working on, I have created a program. It's called Atlas. It's basically a foundational program, and I feel like a big barrier to people starting their exercise journeys, like not really knowing what to do. And so part of what we've been messing around with is introducing some of these positional things that we kind of started the podcast with, getting you to create positions in which you can be successful to kind of lead up to a hypertrophy phase where you can build muscle and get stronger. And it's very comprehensive, trying to get as much writing in there as possible so you guys can understand my methodology, my reason behind the things that I'm actually choosing to be in there. I think it's a 10-week program, but we're going to release it for free. And so we kind of want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's very comprehensive. Thick, wrote pretty much everything in horrible grammar that I had to correct.
It's not my forte.
Yeah, I'm the writer. But he goes into, and I mean, many people who might want to do this might know this, and that's fine. You can skip this stuff, but he goes into food tracking, optimizing your sleep, diet, an example diet plan. Like, everything is here. This is really a foolproof program, not only because it has all that, but he's also, like, in the beginning of the podcast, you heard him explain some stuff that might be like a little in the weeds for someone who's a little new to lifting.
That's me, bro. I love the weeds.
Yeah. um, but he goes into the actual methodology and the concepts behind everything that he's given you in this program. And he's done it in a fairly approachable way, I think. Everything is explained, the arcs of movement, length-tension relationships, the concept of grounding, which he actually has an article on the Substack. So you can access all, if you don't care about any of this, that's fine. The program's still here and you can follow it. But if you want to understand your training more and understand anatomy and movement more, read through the entire program because it's incredibly comprehensive and detailed in an approachable way. That's me speaking honestly, not just as Thick's buddy. And you're right, it is a 10-week program. He even goes into warm-ups for you. And it's phase... This is phase 1, right? Can you explain the concept of phases right now?
Yeah, so again, the concept of the phase 1 is I was initially going to make all 3 phases in one program, but in phase 1, what we're really trying to do is give everyone access to position to be able to grow muscle. So one thing that we see in my in-person training all the time is, let's say you work a desk job, right? You're always in positions, or say you played a sport for, 10, 15 years. You are going to be in positions your body has assumed to be really successful at those things. So one thing that I want you to think about is, like, if you're watching the Olympics and you see the swimmers, if you take the swimmers, they all have their caps on, they all have their goggles, unless they said their name and country, like, on the front of their cap, you probably wouldn't be able to tell who's who. They all look the same. Like, their bodies are built to do that thing, which is swim, right? You got rounded shoulders, like really kyphotic posture. It's the same thing with people who just assume the same patterns all the time. You're always sitting at a desk, not necessarily the same exact posture, but you're assuming a position that is conducive to do the things that you do on a daily basis. And so one thing that we're trying to do with Atlas Phase 1 is essentially hit the reset, get you in positions where, okay, great. Can you move one side of your pelvis independently from the other? Can you glide your shoulder blades in all of the directions that they're supposed to glide? Can you stack your rib cage over your pelvis? And on top of that, we're trying to build strength through these positions so that when we get to phase 2 is going to be lots of hypertrophy work. It's like, okay, now because we've given you access to this position, when you do a dumbbell bench press, you're going to feel your chest. Like, you're not going to feel your shoulders. When you do your bicep work, you're going to feel your biceps. You're going to feel your quads. Like, you're going to feel all of the things that you're actually supposed to feel and stimulate the tissues that you want to stimulate because you have access to the positions to do so. That is the whole purpose of phase 1. And I've made it in a way where you're not doing these wonky exercises where if you're going to the gym, it's just normal training, right? I have notes in there basically to aid you in being successful with the program. And then we're also creating a Discord where we can talk shop, right? You guys have access to me. You'll have access to the other people completing the program, asking questions, doing technique reviews on certain things, all that stuff. So trying to get an intro into kind of training with the Movement Marshals team and getting a little bit more access to us. Always feel free to hit us up with questions too on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're there for.
Yeah, you can DM us anytime.
Anytime.
We're open to that. But the Discord will definitely be a place where you can access Thick's wizard brain directly, and I'll be there too. You can access us directly to ask us about the program, because I presume we'll be running it too throughout this, so that... Yeah, and Thick has obviously workshopped this himself, but we'll be running the program too, so maybe we're running into similar issues as you, or we have a level of experience, because I'm not as experienced of a lifter as Thick, but I've been lifting for a long time, and I think I'm fairly competent. Well,
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Absolutely.
I just want to glaze myself. But we'll be there to help out, and we can even just talk about it, even if it's not something, or even if you just want to share your success with the program. That's even better. We want to see that too. We're here because we're doing this because we want to help people, and we want to help people train, and we want people to enjoy training, become more comfortable with their bodies, and ultimately become a better person because you're becoming stronger, you're becoming more confident. I think training has made me a better person in every single way. It's fun to be physically capable.
Dude,
was it Socrates that had the quote?
I don't know.
You're
You're
say
gonna
what you're gonna say.
You're gonna have to find out. Yeah, I would. I don't know what the fuck I would do without training. It's just fun for me. Like, it's the most enjoyable part of my day, pretty much every day. And it also is what I do for my profession. So, kind of a double whammy. But it's just so interesting to figure out the way the body works. And with that too, I feel like I want to create the same environment for everyone who runs the program, and that's kind of why I made it so comprehensive in terms of methodologies. I mean, even for all the movements, we have what I like to call kind of lateralizations or substitutions, essentially, for all the movements. Like, not everybody has access to a pendulum squat or a hack squat, right? Like, what can you do instead? Those kinds of considerations so that there really are no questions left on the table. And if somehow you do still have questions, right, we have access to everyone else who's running the program with you, but also access to Kick and myself, who will be running basically versions of the program as we get ready for this powerlifting meet. And a lot of the movements that we'll be running in our specific programming are going to be lateralizations of what you guys are doing here.
And so, I guess there's the question. I'll obviously be preparing for this meet, but I'm always going to be doing
Other
some
stuff,
sport
yeah.
in the background. And I do my own thing. I just got some grip trainers. Going to be working on
The grip trainers.
Get that gorilla grip, bro. They range from 50 to 300, so we'll have to get to that 300. But essentially, you're a personal trainer and a strength and conditioning coach, and you're going to be training for this powerlifting meet.
Yeah.
I am, but it's obviously going to be slightly less emphasized.
Yeah.
Just by nature of me doing other things. I'm obviously going to take it seriously, probably a little more seriously than I took the marathon.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Oh my god, the marathon was a fucking mess.
Go listen to our last episode if you want to hear about the marathon.
It was a mess.
In a fun way.
In a fun way.
But how will this program help both of us, and why is it good for both of us who do have different goals, even though we are training for the same thing? How would it help both of us, even aid me in my pursuits as a combat athlete?
Well, I think that, so to give you some insight into what I'm doing, yes, I'll be training for the powerlifting meet, and I'm going to take the strength aspect of this very seriously. At the same time, I'm also in a phase of training where I'm working directly with athletes, and to do so, I kind of have a philosophy where I can't program something for someone unless I've done it myself, right? I need to understand what it feels like. I need to become proficient in the movements before I can prescribe them. And so I do a lot of sprint work, acceleration work, kind of lateral movement work as my warm-ups to all my leg days. Same thing with the med ball stuff. All the med ball stuff that I do is in some way, shape, or form related to the way that I program for my athletes, just so that I can get a feel for what I want them to do as I kind of fuck around with these movements. And so it's helpful for my leg day training, but at the same time, it's not, like, I don't need to do that stuff to powerlift. So I am doing a lot of sprint work on the side. I think what will be helpful for you out of this program is the accessory work. I think not only is it going to directly help you to stay healthy and build better strength, but it's going to help you to stay healthy and build more proficient movements in your combat sports, right? Like, you're going to be able to stave off some of these kind of nagging injuries, tendonitis. I mean, when you're actually doing a combat sport, there are some things that they're inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're getting smashed to the ground sometimes. Like, you're getting your arm cranked in positions that it definitely should not be in. And that's, same thing. That's just part of being a combat athlete. But you're not going to get random elbow tendonitis for no reason, right? Or at least we're going to be able to stave that off for as long as possible. with some direct training this way. You'll be able to rotate better. You'll be able to access positions that you wouldn't be able to access otherwise, and you'll feel like you could probably stay in positions longer, under pressure. So I think in that way, it's going to be super helpful for you to do the accessory work. And then building overall strength.
It's going to be useful for everything.
It's going to be useful for everything. Absolutely.
If you are a combat athlete listening, please lift. It's going to make your life so much better.
Yeah. Please lift. Please lift. It's just fun to do. Even if you don't enjoy lifting, I know plenty of people who play sports. A lot of athletes don't like to lift.
Lifting.
Find a way to build it in where it's fun for you. Do the things that you enjoy, and you only got to do it like once or twice a week. Like just.
That's what Discord's for too.
Yeah.
We could help you gamify it in whatever way you see fit. And if you're not an athlete, that's why this program is called Atlas, because Atlas is at the foundation of the world. This is hopefully building you that foundation to, what would you say? Building the foundation to what?
For human movement. Like, you just need to be able to move your body through different planes of motion so that you can be efficient. So that, I don't know, when you're 35 years old, you're not that guy who, like, gets out of bed and it's like, oh, fuck, my feet, dude. Plantar fasciitis is killing me. Or, like, you bend over and you throw out your back. Like, those things happen, but they'll be way less likely if you just move efficiently.
Yeah.
And move well. And Atlas is about building that foundation to move really well. So then, you know what? If you have a goal that's greater than just moving well, you want to be really strong, you want to be really big. Okay, now you have the base, and you can build off of that base to a goal, whatever that is, whether it's sprinting really fast or being able to run around with your kids or being really strong or getting really big.
So you would say this is foundational for people who have athletic aspirations and don't?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say this is a great starting point for pretty much anyone.
And so what would phase 2 look like?
Phase 2 is going to be a little bit more specific to building muscle. I think when people start their fitness journey, it's usually for kind of like a recomping purpose, like we talked about, right? And so this is setting you up to go right into a phase 2, where now we're really stimulating muscle growth in a lot of areas.
Perfect.
Oh,
Everyone
dude,
wants bigger muscles.
I'm so congested. If you hear me kind of clearing my throat and sniffling, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Just bear with me.
Yeah, I'm excited to run this.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. I'm excited to get the community aspect of the Discord rolling.
Yeah, we want to talk to you guys.
Yeah, I want to interact.
We want to talk to you guys.
Absolutely.
Also, will there be a schedule?
Schedule in what way?
Like, we have the days, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like a weekly schedule.
Yeah, there's going to be a weekly schedule, and we'll be able to see that. There are all the lifts. I've taken into consideration people's time. Like, nobody wants to be in the gym for,
2 hours?
Hour and a half, 2 hours. So all of them, pretty short. I would say 60 minutes or less. And even with that, some of the movements are paired together so that if you are really tight on time, you could probably get it done in 30, 40, 45 minutes, supersetting kind of opposing muscle groups to get the most out of the training in whatever short time you have.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And where will people be able to find this program?
We're going to publish a Notion page. So it'll be basically a web link that we're going to connect into our Twitter. I mean, they'll be on all our socials in our link tree. And you can access it there. With that will be the link for the Discord, which you can also access and join. And then you'll see basically channels for technique videos, just talking shop about training, all that good stuff.
And obviously we'll post it on our Substack. We can make a separate page for it.
Yeah, we can.
So that you can access that right through the Substack. There'll be a link for training-specific things.
Substack.
Whatever social you follow us on, I mean, we'll even post it on the YouTube page. Probably be a video. We'll link it underneath this on YouTube and Spotify so that you can find it pretty easy, or at least just have our link tree there. Twitter/X, Instagram, all of it. We'll make sure you know about it, and anytime Thick posts anything, he'll make sure that there's an easy way to find it.
Absolutely.
So you should not have trouble finding it, and then you shouldn't have any trouble running it or working it into your program because you will have direct access to us at all times. No matter how you think you won't be able to fit it in, I'm sure there's a way we can make it work. And we can make sure that we are all becoming more physically capable.
100%. Dude, I think that wraps it for today. Thank you guys for listening in. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter. That's probably where I'm going to be most active talking about this program until you guys can get that Discord link and pop in there.
Yeah. And as always, follow us on X/Twitter, Instagram. TikTok is back now. Pinterest even. If you
Pinterest,
want. Yeah, we still got the Pinterest.
Yeah, we still got the
I got
Pinterest.
a back post to it. I'm like almost a year out, but I got a back post to it. We still get like 50,000 views a month on that.
Yeah.
If you want the best content, especially my fight analysis, subscribe to the Substack.
Yeah.
For the best stuff, most of my articles are going to be behind the paywall. It's only $6 a month. I think that's quite reasonable. And there will be at least one monthly article that is separate to the pay-per-views. It's more because I'll write about all the pay-per-views because they're fun, they're interesting, they have the best fights, but there'll also be one thing that's kind of more what I want to talk about and is a little more in-depth. And Thick, you will see him a lot more on the Twitter, on the Substack if he wants.
Yeah.
He'll always just be posting there for whatever. And come to the Discord. Start training with us. Run Atlas. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, it's completely free. Got nothing to lose.
Totally free. So you can try it out.
Even if you don't want to run Atlas, but you just kind of want secondary eyes on your training, like post your tech videos in there, and we can talk shop.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Thank you guys as always. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Movement Marshals out.